Alright, quick little video here. I'm tapping with the BILZ tapping chuck. Tapping 516, 18 holes for a belt grinder, but that's not important. What I wanted to just show, in case anyone was thinking about it, is so I've got this drum switch up here I found on I think it was a marketplace for like 50 bucks. It was rather cheap. Normally they're a lot more expensive than that. You can find them on eBay, but when I was looking on there, I mean, they were like $200-300 bucks. Beside the point, put a VFD on the back left side. I used to have controls right here, high and low. Now this is basically an on for the VFD, and all the speed controls are up here. Potentiometer. This is a belt pulley system. I got it wired to C. So at 60 hertz, you know, it's probably running, it's on low setting, so it's probably running 715. And then, you know, you double that hertz up to 120 and you're pushing, you know, 1430. But really, I just wanted to show, I had this drum switch potentiometer. It's a 10 turn, probably should be a 3 turn is what I would suggest if you're going to buy one. Born makes excellent potentiometers. But I got these 2 stainless steel illuminated jog runts, and these work to let me know the mill's getting power. You could wire them up non-illuminated, or you could wire them up where when you push them in they illuminate. I thought of doing that, but there's no other lighted supply on this machine, so it's nice to be able to glance and know that it's getting power. You know, occasionally your VFD won't be getting power, but everything else is, or, you know, the contactor blew, whatever. Breaker, you know, it could be several things. This is I'm actually running this off a 3-phase rotary converter. I could run it off single phase, but it's got 2 motors in it for the table up and down and left and right. And the horizontal spindle. So it's got, this mill has actually got 4 motors. And if I want the power feeds to work right, I still have to feed it 3-phase. But the VFD allows, you know, very fine control over the motor. You know, power up, ramp down. This is really cool. The jog switch up here. This is reverse. This is forward. This is forward. This is reverse. So I just wired it, and that same right is forward, you know. But, you know, let's get up a little bit here. I mean, this implementation, I think, worked really well. All the controls are up here anyway. And you just tap this jog button, and you could set this jog to anything you want. You could set it to run at full speed if you want, but I want it to run pretty slow so I can tap, go to the bottom of the tap, you know, push right back up and reverse. And that's really handy for a machine that doesn't have an auto feed. You know, this is a fine down feed that's not engaged. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I never really use it anyway. I've got this, but I don't know. That was when I was first learning what I was doing, is when I threw that on. I probably need to rip that off and install a glass scale up there, or maybe cut a new magnetic. But I just wanted to show that. I waited a long time to get a VFD because I already had a phase converter. I wish I wouldn't have waited so long. I can show the wiring if people are interested in that. I think, you know, when I was looking at it from the outside, I hadn't installed a VFD first. I was pretty intimidated. But it's actually pretty easy. You know, basically you wire the VFD directly to the motor, and then every other switch loop is its separate loop back to the VFD to control the VFD to control the motor. You know, it's the hardest part for me, at least, was figuring out contactors getting power to the VFD. because I had a control cabinet with, I think 9 contactors because of all the different motors, and this was wired for a 2-speed motor, and it was just a lot. But I basically just ripped out the 3 contactors that went up to the main motor, wired one directly to the VFD, so I can turn that on and off through this, and then rewired all these switches in here. I think it was easier than going back to this bottom box and trying to rip out all those switches. But yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.